Good morning, everybody. I'm Greta Blash, and I represent and am a member of a number of the Southern California chapters, PMI here. And we all want to welcome you to Southern California if you haven't already been welcomed. Hopefully you'll enjoy your time here. Today's session is entitled Portfolio Challenges from Benefits Realization to Resource Management. And before I introduce Peter, I just want to let you know that we have a new benefits realization practice guide that's going to be coming out anytime now. I actually had the opportunity to work on it as a SME, so keep your eyes open for that, those of you that are interested in benefit realization. Very critical. Peter Mello is a project manager and scheduler with over 20 years of experience in medium to large projects in several industries. He holds his PMP since 2003, and he was one of the first 10 to obtain the PMI-SP certification. Author, speaker, and researcher for the development of project management methods and tools, he received the PMI Best of the Best 2009 award for promoting project management excellence. With this, I'd like you to welcome Peter.
Hello, good morning. Is it working well? All right. I'm a little afraid of people all the way in the back. This is a very strange setup. We are talking about portfolio with many projects and a lot of scheduling on it. That's why I said let's try to start at 10:30 on the dot, because our biggest problem here is actually time to do the whole set, right? From one point, benefit, to the other point, resource management. There's a long way to go. And I actually have a challenge to you guys. Some of you saw in the post there on the application, right? So I need your participation or Earth is doomed. Basically, it is. Yes, I'm going to show you around that. So if you guys in the back want to try and move around here, I will feel more comfortable. It's kind of okay. Let's see. Well, how I'm going to walk on this big room? I need to walk. So there's Earth. Right? We're very proud of it. And we live on it, we depend on it. But Earth is about to be destroyed, and I invite everyone here to plan our way out of this Armageddon, right? I hope I got this wording right, because English is not my language. So humankind depends on you. If we fail to understand how resource management can actually make big changes to a portfolio, and from there, we create the benefit that we are expecting. So it's a loss for all of us. What is the idea here? Well, you've seen this slide here before. So everything is my opinion, nobody else's, right? You can read this later. But we have some learning objectives, right? After helping to save Earth, participants will be able to explain the importance of benefits realization management. So as she said, there's a guide coming out. There's a framework that was published 2 years ago. The benefits realization management concept has been around many publications from Europe and Australia for the past 20 years or so. And it is very important to us because it makes a link between value, business value, company value, results, and the actual deliveries that we as a project managers are supposed to give, right? And many times we are so worried about the delivery itself that we do not pay attention that a delivery, depending on where it is set, how it is set, to the moment it's actually being delivered, some of the benefits are already lost. And this can come because I'm late, and it can come because I'm early in some stuff. So when you look at the business level, sometimes you have to watch your scheduling in a different way that if you would do just as a project manager looking at your own setup and your own team. So we have to understand benefits realization from the project to portfolio level, and that should help us with risk management, governance, and a few other things, right? But the most important point that I want to make it here is that we, project managers, deliver stuff. And this delivery does not equal to benefit. There's a relation that must be organized, and the benefit would be the end value of that delivery that we're going to set up. Second part is to describe the application of scheduling simulations to verify when and where portfolio benefits realization is affected by poor or optimum use of shared resources. So what I'm saying here is that a schedule with no resources plan is, I'm actually getting to my last slide, just to be sure everybody's going to get the point. A schedule with no resource supply, when you don't really conduct your planning on that level, is just as good as fake news, right? So but let's try to prove that point. So we have to align some vocabulary. We have to have a sample portfolio, which is our challenge to solve. Sorry. We have to get some practical example of what is a benefit realization so we can understand the concept of business to end delivery. Then we talk about resource management, scheduling optimization to a conclusion. And I don't know if you were given a workout sheet. There was a workout sheet plan. So maybe you have to write down it somewhere. But we have a small exercise and a pool in the middle of it. So it's expected for you to know a little bit of scheduling. And then we're going to collect the results of this group. And we're going to know if Earth can be saved or if maybe artificial intelligence can save us instead. Because this is also part of what is being presented. So first, the benefits realization is, I'm going to read it because we all need to learn this, right? Is the path to a systemic relation of a strategy to project execution, assisting the development of the right organization strategy for any portfolio. So provides organization with a way to measure how projects add true value to the enterprise. And the benefits realization is a means to ensure that benefits are actually derived of the outputs that we are getting to work on our schedule, in our plans, in our deliveries. Then we need to understand one thing that I call a true critical path. And a very good friend of mine has like this big discussion over internet groups and so for the past 10 years. He never came to agree with that, and he's very strong positioning about critical path as the original sense of the old method from the 50s, right? So here we need to see it in a different way. So the true critical path is the sequence of tasks that determines the minimum length of a project from start to finish, considering the logic just like CPM. But we also need to consider constraints. And constraints, can anyone name a couple of constraints we can have? Okay, yeah, resource, right? It can be a machine, a person, it can be money, it can be a fixed date that you're forced upon because of some strange law or some other thing, right? For a schedule, can time be a restriction, right? We are time restricted here to 75 minutes, and we have to deal with that, right? So if you're familiar with the CPM concept, we are adding to the critical path the reorganization of this path in such a way that will cover all resources, leveling that you need. Some people know that as the leveling button from Microsoft. 9 or 10 people I know, they will say, yeah, it's there, but I don't use it because it either doesn't work or I don't know what comes out from there. It just breaks my schedule, right? And, well, yeah, there are some challenges in using that. And in every problem, you see an opportunity. So now I have a startup, and my first product that we launched there was an add-on to Microsoft. So we actually recalculate stuff to make it right. Second topic we need to do is scheduling optimization. It's the process of arranging, controlling, and adjusting work and workloads of all tasks in a scheduled network, seeking to maximize the efficiency of this network. So when I talk about efficiency, it depends on the project. Some projects I need to cut down time. Some projects I need to cut down total cost. Some projects I need to level everyone to work just like the other one, or they kind of get mad and nothing else happens later. So there are many ways of optimizing a network, and basically you need to choose one path, and that comes the intelligence of the scheduler. And with that approach, then you use the machine to solve the more complex problem, right? So yesterday we were on this presentation about artificial intelligence, how it's going to take over project management, right? There's a study from Gartner that says that 80% of everything we do as a routine work as project managers will be passed through smart machines by the year 2030. I should hope this is much earlier, so I can have the time for the other 20 that really matters, right? So then AI will take a good part on that, and this means that we need to trust it. It cannot be that little button that we press it and we ask someone for other help, right? So our sample portfolio here, it's actually an exercise that was inspired by a mock-up portfolio I created for the PMI New York Symposium 2018. And for that, we wanted to make an example of how to build up from strategy to projects. So we got NASA's strategic plan, and we used their technologic breakdown structure to start developing what would be the strategy of this portfolio we were building, right? So it's just to illustrate the point. So there's the NASA Strategic Technologic Investment Plan. It's available on the internet, right? So every data that's here, it's kind of real. The names of the project managers on the portfolio here are real, right? The name of the projects they are conducting are real. If the dates and values and whatever is there is true or not, that I will leave it to you to discover. So we got that book, and we see that NASA breaks every single project of theirs, from what we could read, into 15 breakdown areas. I selected 4 of them because we need a feasible portfolio, right? Something that you can actually look at and understand. And for these 4 technological areas, we picked some projects in some of the sub-levels. And from there, we built this strategic portfolio that, in our case here, should represent everything that NASA does in the planet and outside of it. The other point that we need to put it together for our challenge here is the understanding of the benefits realization management framework, right? So basically, you have 3 big steps. You identify benefits to determine whether projects, programs, and portfolio can produce the intended business. Then we go to the execution of these benefits, and we have to manage the execution of the benefits to minimize risks to future benefits and to maximize the opportunity to gain the additional benefits. And for those that are really wondering how this is related to the project output, we're going to see this on the corner there. And later I need to sustain. That was something that was discussed yesterday as well, right? It's like, oh, project managers are used to projects that finish at some point, but now we have to interact with the customers. We have to keep things alive. We need to make a long-living relation with everybody else. So we need to talk about sustainability, right? And the benefits framework comes with that in mind. So now we come to our big challenge. So a deadly asteroid is coming. And in a quick gathering of specialists, we found out that we could actually launch a rocket, and this rocket should carry a laser gun, and if properly built, this laser gun would find its way around the asteroid. Only little tiny pieces would actually hit Earth, and we could be saved. So in our vast, enormous NASA portfolio, we need to prioritize all the actions necessary because we need to save Earth, right? So will NASA save the problem? Will NASA save the planet? Today depends on you. If you get the wrong calculation, we're not going to get on time. So let's try to understand a little difference between delivery and benefit, right? So we need to save Earth. That's the ultimate benefit that we are hoping for in our project, on our program, on our set of projects. And then we are launching 2 response projects. One response plan called Armageddon 1 and one response plan called Armageddon 2. And each of these plans will carry lots of activities with lots of resources that are shared all across the organization. And the end product of this project would be a spaceship capable of handling a large weapon. And for the second project, a laser beam that is powerful, and as a weapon, it can be launched with the spaceship. I need to take out here a little bit of my time here. So how I'm gonna do without being here? Schedulers must, check from time to time where they are, where they're going. Okay, so how many did I go through? Okay, sorry. So these are deliveries for these projects, a spaceship and a weapon. But if this spaceship is not there with the capability of carrying the weapon, or if it's not there on the right time, it brings me no benefit at all. So the expected benefit is a means of launching a laser beam into space to destroy the asteroid. The product is not the benefit, is how I'm going to put it in use and what value it brings to my organization, or to Earth in this case, is the benefit. For the second project, I need that this laser beam becomes a means of destroying the asteroid. I make, in the middle of the project, understand that I don't need a laser gun. It can be a shotgun, a red light gun, whatever. It doesn't really matter the technology that the project should deliver, but what the benefit is expected is the weapon power enough to actually destroy the asteroid. Are we clear then with the difference between delivery and benefit? Yes? So here we come to NASA's portfolio. And this was done for the other event, as the same projects that were shown there for that date are here. I didn't really bother to change it that much. But then I have the technological areas and the projects that are happening. Then I have a little situation of how each of them are. And the portfolio projects are aligned to the organization, and they should define the set of benefits that must be managed so I get the final benefits that I want. And this particular moment that I don't know about the Armageddon, the benefits are everything written on that strategic plan they had for, right? So there are hundreds of benefits that should be accomplished to fulfill the strategic plan for NASA before she really finds out that there is this asteroid coming. So once I have this portfolio, and we have to imagine that this portfolio goes down to planning to levels that many of my colleagues never do. And somehow I feel sorry for most of them for not doing it. Yeah. Many things that you say, oh, Murphy was so mean to me, they could be discovered a long time ago if you had a little more planning on that, right? So this is the exercise we're going to start here. So we truly understand the concept of the true critical path. Imagine that for launching this rocket, I need at least to design one particular rocket, and I need to build it, review this documentation, then I can go and build. So it's clear, right, when the project starts and the project ends. Right? I just followed the path and problem solved. But the construction of a rocket will have many designs and many reviews. Even before I start to do the build of something, that's also one of many others. So this goes scale to scale to scale. Suddenly you have many little packages that must be delivered, and every single package can be detailed in a more sophisticated schedule that somehow has its own critical path. And the sum of all this is the actual problem I have as a project manager. And then when I go to the portfolio level, I have the combination of all my schedule and everybody else's schedule. And can you, in this group really, can someone raise their hand and say, I work in projects that I don't share resources with anybody else? Not even one? In another group I was, this agile group said, we do everything alone. Sure. And your product manager is always available to you at any time. You're the product owner, right? The product owner is there for you 24/7. The manager that actually signs in the checks for the salaries, it's available 24/7, right? Always somewhere down the line, someone is being called to be at two places and he can only manage to be at one. The first time I demonstrate this kind of conflict, and I didn't think I got much interest because we didn't talk about NASA projects or big portfolios. We just talk about little mathematical problems, right? So we learned with this experience. When we got this the first time, people said, well, but if I solve this problem on the critical path and I really put all the resources I need on this critical path, everything else is solved. And in my example, I only had the director of the company signing in a couple of things that need to be purchased during the process. And then we put the first project and we run the scheduling, it's perfect. Then the second project, it's okay. The third project is okay. At some point, there are 4 papers on this director's table to sign, and he's just going to do 1 or 2 a day. And that little day of difference in a schedule of 9 months, multiplied by every other project in that schedule, I demonstrated that one of those projects would miss the date by over 30%. And everybody would say, Murphy was mean to me. So we have to imagine that there are several builds, and for each build, there are several designs. And to make it a little simpler for you, we only have one design in review, another design in review. When both are complete, we can start building it. But this is a very specific part of my system, so only one specific guy is actually capable of doing the design. Something that we never see happening, right? So he needs to do 2 designs, and the other person should do 2 reviews. And if they happen at the same time, I can start building. But people still go home, they still have families, they cannot really work extra hours, even if Earth is coming to an end, right? I did a boot camp with MIT, and for 7 days, we had 20 hours a day of activities. So talk about sleep deprivation, right? The other 4 hours, we had to go to the hotel, shower, and prepare for the other day. It was not time to hit the bed. So 120 hours of effort for 20 hours of sleep, and we managed to deliver stuff. So under pressure, yes, that will happen. But there's a limit to this, and we have to be prepared to these limits. So let's imagine, to make things a little easier for us, that in this case, Joey, one of the designs is very similar to something else he has done before, so he will only take 5 days. And Mary, she never dealt with that, so she will be carefully revising that, because if that rocket fails to launch, we still have the same problem, right? Benefits not delivered. So she will still take the 10 days. So if we consider that this is the entire schedule we're going to do for our entire portfolio, considering only continuous days, this means Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays are being counted here, right? Considering only continuous days, when should this project be delivered? This is our challenge on these tables. And the people in the back cannot try to run away from that, because we have the automatic pooling, so I really expect you guys enter the pool and give me an answer to the exercise. So the project is the delivery of both designs already reviewed. This is what I'm aiming for. And considering only these continuous days, I'm just repeating the exercise, I have 5 possible answers. Day 20, I start day 1, right? Continuous. Day 20, day 25, day 30, day 35. Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot calculate these 4 tasks into a schedule. Okay? So, game is on. Please save the Earth. You should go to the... You've done some pulling on the other events, right? On the other... I already have 60? No, this... Wow. You guys are fast on the typing. One cannot never say too fast, right? I said 60, now 61 is stuck. No cheating, no. You guys waiting for the most visible result to pick yours? All right. Okay, for time's sake, we should kind of call it off. So, yeah, okay, people are still going a little bit. Majority is saying at this time, day 20. What part of people need to go home and rest that I didn't make it clear, right? Second result, day 25. Third result, day 30. And worst case scenario, 16. And some people still missing the, I don't know, the PMP certification steps for scheduling. All right. So let's take a look at it. So let's divide the entire moment into sets of 10 days. And let's say that Joe will start working on his design. Mary cannot do anything yet because she needs a design to start working with. Then while she's reviewing that, we can actually start the second design. So some people seems to be on the right path because it seems that everything can fit the 30 days. And after I finish this design, I can finally get a review from Mary. And I have to wait Mary to finish Mary's work before she continues. So we have a gap of time there. But it's the true world. We have to cope with that. That's our schedule, right? So how many people are happy with this result? 1, 2, 3. More people put an answer, the same answer there. You just know there's a tricky here, right? So you're just trying to escape the right? So you guys are responsible for dooming Earth, okay? Yes?
Why did the design on the bottom row have to wait until the design finished?
Because it's the same joke. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, right? So Joey needs to finish Joey's work so he can start the second one, right? Okay, so let's imagine you can really do the entire calculation well, but you missed the name, right? This is somewhere AI can get into the work and say, well, this guy is just one index on my database table, so I'm not going to miss that, right? So fixing human errors is also part of what AI can do for you. But what we really expected is that, who said that Joey needs to start the second design? Where is that? It's not in your critical path, right? Nobody told you that Joey can only work the second design when he finished the first one. And this we should double check at all times, at every project, with every team, every single task that's happening. And the Agile teams managed to do this quite well when they just set up a bunch of tasks that must be done, and everyone that finished something, he goes there to this list of other things that must be done, and he picks something that if he realizes that it needs something else, he just puts it back and gets something else, right? So kind of basically daily scheduling you saw with it Agile. Maybe that's why they have some advantages. But for many other things, they are missing opportunities like this one. And sometimes when you get the right schedule at the right time, you can reduce total duration of a traditional project. And for an Agile project, this means that you can do more work. So a lot of Agilists, can you say that? That's the word? They say, oh, Pete, I don't need scheduling because I have the time boxes. And I have 5 time boxes. And every time box takes 10 days. So I know my project will take 50 days. But if you do the wrong task distribution there, the scope is not going to be accomplished. So you need scheduling just as much.
But you're not saying with scheduling, but if this is going to be an agile, what you want is, as Joey starts designing on day 1 and finishes, you want the review to start even earlier, so the reviewer would start reviewing.
Yes, but we are not doing parallel work yet here. But yes, in this case, on the second scenario, I want to start with the shortest task, so Mary can start the review immediately. And once she's already working with the review, Joey can actually take the time for the other task he doesn't know much. And both will finish up in 10 days. So I can wait for Mary another 10 days, and I get the 2 reviews concluded, and I have a 5-day off. So this means in a project of only 4 tasks and 2 people, just by looking with some little attention to it, I get 5 days off 30. Can you imagine how this grows into portfolio level? There was one company I did that. They were working for Petrobras, and they were very good in their jobs, and then they had like 5 projects a year, and they were so good in delivering all the 5 years that for the next year, Petrobras gave them the option to, instead of doing 5 projects, to do 50. So they suddenly grow up 10 times, and they said, oh, great, now I have 10 times more the money, I will open 10 times as much offices, and I'm going to get 10 times more people. And everything is just solved. I'll be just 10 little companies of 5 projects each. And when we put all their tasks together in a project schedule, I called the owner and said, are you prepared to go to a bank 4 months from now and ask for a loan of $15 million? Of course not. I'm full of money. I just got all the first down payment from Petrobras. I'm not going to need $50 million in 4 months. Go back and do your job with that schedule. A month later, he comes back to me. Say, how is that calculation of yours? I said, well, it works like that. One thing intervenes with the other one that intervenes in this and this and this. And this project is not going to be delivered on time, so it's going to delay this other one because there is no cash flow to pay for this other one, then this other one. And so you have a curve that you need to solve it in about 4 months. Oh, yeah, so I need to go to the bank and get 50 million. And no, now it's about 55 to 60. Why? Well, because you missed 30 days to fix the problem. And I told them, you're going to break, as a company, you're not going to exist October this year if you don't get this money. I miscalculated. In October, they fired 220 employees. And they spent the rest of the year and the other year trying to solve legal problems before they could close down. So, schedule optimized. This is what we are seeking for. And as you can see from the results of the entire group here, it's not an easy task. We got all sorts of results from 4 tasks to people. Imagine with a very large situation. So in this case, I need to trust that goddamn button from Microsoft. And if it's doing a lousy job, it's still probably, on the long run, better than not doing it. So this is called waste. First time I had the opportunity to go to Greece and get to know the ancient museums and stuff. Greece was under pressure, was about to break as a country, and they had this PMI gathering there to say, okay, how can we do stuff, right? And the topic was green management. How we do things a little better to get a little more results. And the basic concept I took there was waste during the execution of projects. And you can always be wrong on the spot, right? You cannot always be right. So I got there to talk about wasting projects, but what happened is that everybody else that went to that conference, they talk about green results in projects. So they talk about hybrid cars and plants that, places that could generate electricity from wind and sun, etc., right? So they all had greenish benefits. And I was the only one there saying, okay, we need to do things better so we can improve the results, and then we can get back to someplace. And I felt really awkward and out of the place there. And next year I was the only one called in again. So again, it was kind of cool to worry about waste during project execution. So we go back to our problem here. Earth needs to be saved. We should start as a good schedulers with what? How do you call that? Network diagram, right? How old is this? Very old, right? From the 50s. And there are even, right, other examples of things like that being applied a long time before. But can we really skip it? If we skip it, we don't get that particular point you said, like, oh, who said that Joey does not need to do the other one, right? If I'm certain that this was done before, and Joey can actually do any of the two, I'm safe. I can anticipate one task, right? And if I do the scheduling network, I may discover that in that particular case, there is no other way. I really need to go with the first task, not the second. So logics is a very important thing, especially if we're going to put this to AI. The guy talked about everything that you put in the process, it can be calculated and proved, right? So we have the project schedule network diagram. And then we have the project scheduling resource loading. There we become, now we have a problem. There is no mathematical solution to that. A CPM, step in, step out, count this, count that, you always get the answer, right? But there is no final answer for an optimization schedule based on resource leveling. So this is a try and error procedure. So this means hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calculations that we all together cannot do, but our cell phone together can. So this is the first schedule that was resource level, kind of based on your results. The group from the top, right? You know what I mean. So if you follow the red, you're talking about the true critical path. So activity 1 for Joey, then he goes to activity 2 down there, then he goes to activity 3 up there, and then 4 on the other project. So he's jumping from one project to the other project to actually put things moving in the both projects that he's needed, so we can actually get the best total result. So our calculated delivery date now is September 30th, 2019, based on the tasks that we are just applying to this exercise. But destruction is May 10th, 2019. We have 142 days overdue. Not the kind of project you want to be in, right? Yes. And is it okay to say, NASA, give me Joe full time? Do you think it's fair? Give me Joe, yeah? And then give me Mary? And everybody else? Can Joey work extra hours, 10, 12, 15 hours every day for 200 days? So how am I going to fix this problem? Because 142 days is with Joey and Mary alone, right? So here, just for us to point out where we're going, May is the start, and September 13th is where we are with our moment, with our schedule. Can you read the numbers there on the back? Doesn't really matter, because it's just like you do it anyway, okay? So we go back to our portfolio. Remember I told you we had a NASA portfolio? And then I go there and I check all the numbers, and I'm going to prioritize, because I have this specific tool that I can up and down level and change this and that, and all the numbers are flashing around and colors are changing, right? And then I say, okay, if I free Joey from some projects, I have more hours of Joe. So I get down with my pen and I cancel 3 projects. So Joey is not working in 12 projects anymore, he's working in 3 projects less. Let's see this result as available working hours for Joe. So the green is the total working hours he can have if I add every day of him to the end of time, right? 142 days plus May 20, didn't count. So if you add all the days that he's going to still be alive, he will sum up all the green area, right? That's the total working hours. And by looking where Joey is in every single project from the entire NASA portfolio, he only takes that little blue spot as working hours. So it seems we're okay, right? Does it look okay? Now let's compare the original portfolio. That was Joey before I canceled the 3 projects. This means that I'm, with my colorful pen and my beautiful PPM solution, managed to really cut down 3 very important projects that could free the time for Joey, right? So, wow, I did a very good job. That was Joey being busy, now Joey being busy. Does it solve the problem? Yes or no? Let's see Joey apply to the projects the way we need it. So The little blue moments we have there is one task that he should do in a specific day, and the red is another task that he should do in that specific same day, or somebody else is going to be delayed. So this is what we call resource overload. So he has just a few hours to work, but he's not demanded on all the days of his work. He's demanded on that particular point. Why? Because we are talking about a network of projects for the entire portfolio, and the combination, Murphy says, not me, it goes into that. So accumulated hours is different from hours per day. General availability has nothing to do with timely availability. I invented this word, I think, to be available on the time we want it. Timely availability, is that all right? Understood? Okay. So let's bring back to our original problem. We canceled 3 projects. We have the start dates and end dates of all the projects on that particular schedule. Then I have to add 2 more projects, which are my problem. NASA and Department of Defense Response Program, PMIGlobal 1 and 2. The end date, 30/9, not good enough. Okay? Now let's see how Joey is being used. So there is Joe on the original portfolio. And here's Joe on this very, very demanding project that needs to save Earth. We are talking about months, right? So every little dot of Joe is a difference of 4 hours or so, or 1 day or 2 for another task. He needs to be someplace else, right? But this is resource level at first. The top part here, if you look only at Joey's calendar, it's perfectly timed. He knows exactly where he starts and ends, okay? Now we need to fix it, and we need to add that time in the below. So what I'm going to do later is just to cut down Joe from every other project, right? Good solution? Joey, you are dismissed from every other single project. Good? Probably Earth is saved. And NASA? What will be of NASA if everything else was stopped? So that's not an option. Then I go to resource scheduling, okay? So this is Joey on all the activities, and these are the codes of the activities that are back on that portfolio. And as you can see, he has a perfect schedule, and he's not in red. This means that he's not in a critical path on this particular portfolio at first. But he's doing the tasks in this order: 6th and code 8, and then A6 and B6. So these are the codes for every single task on the entire portfolio. And when I do some optimized scheduling with the standard priorities, I get a different result. This means that I anticipate one task, I delay another one, and I go on along playing around. So this is based on your 30-day calculation. It's better than the original result, but not good enough. So I have some earlier dates to some tasks and a late date to other tasks. And the result for this portfolio now is the first attempt was almost good enough to solve the end date, right? So the how do you call that color? Purple? The purple color is the previous schedule, and then I anticipated the schedule a little bit. I'm just focusing on that. So you have the baseline, critical path, the work. When I put that to the portfolio, I have a delay of those projects that are marked in red, and I have a much better result for the 2 main projects. So does this have a pointer? I don't think so. Okay. So this was my original date. I prioritized Joey based on your calculations, 30 days for every 20 possible days. the project was reduced to this final date. This is all calculated in another software, right? This is really calculated. It's not playing with paint here. So the project is in this date now. And this is standard calculation. Maybe I could get it done with project 2. I could get to here. And then these other projects are a little late because Joey could not be there on time. So now what I'm going to do is to optimize the schedule. This means I'm going to look for every single opportunity around there, and I'm going to twinkle so I can actually get it a little better. Every 30 days becomes 25 days. And now I have Earth saved. And from the numbers I got here, it was only 28%, right? So if we got the 3 of 10 people right from this room, Earth would be saved. The other 7 would have condemned us, or NASA, right? Because NASA could just put Joey all the time for that. All right, let's see the timing here. I have 9 minutes, is that right? Okay, so resource optimization with project prioritization, with artificial intelligence, doing as many possible attempts, and then what I have is solving a problem. As a manager, I need to point the right person. I need to point the right restriction. I need to point the prioritizations. I don't need to do the calculation. That an engine can do for me. So we should not be afraid of artificial intelligence. When we bring that to our final project, we got 149 days shorter than the original plan. Other projects are a little late. Some projects had to start a little late as well. But we are guaranteeing the best benefit for NASA that can keep on doing other projects. And we are giving the best benefit to Earth, which is getting the job done. Scheduling optimization has trade-offs. Some projects are delayed or postponed, so we can save Earth. Conclusions, right? I told you the first 5 minutes, to be sure. Simulation of portfolios without scheduling optimization. You're going to see thousands of tools that will do that. And the application of resource leveling, if we don't put these 2 things together, is just as good as fake news. You're just waiting for Murph to come around the curb. And if you don't like Murph so much, I learned that another name for Murph is Peter, from the Peter Principle for some reason. So if I come across, I may give you a hard time too, right? I broke a company 8 months, right? Portfolio must be driven by benefits realization, not project deliveries. So this means that I'm not there to see how good project manager I am and how perfect is my SPI, my CPI, my return of investment. I do the best of all. I'm the best in the team of 12, but the portfolio sucks anyway, right? So we need things to be given away to one person and another one, and on the portfolio basis, we should worry about benefits. This comes from a variation of a drawing from PMI where he talks about organization environment, and I extended a little bit because I say that when you want to work at benefits, you do need to keep operations as part of your portfolio. On PMI perspective, organizations deliver something and then operations run, and the portfolio doesn't really worry about the continuation of that particular operation. But resources are the same. So I need to bring them into the same condition. I need to resource optimize everything that I can, including the director's agenda if necessary. So we got there to our learning objectives. I should be at 11:30, and we are at 11:25. Yeah, I got my 5 cut up. Perfect timing, right? Okay, so at the conclusion of this session, you should be able to explain the importance of benefits realization management. Would anyone care to to say it so I can say, wow, I got it? No one wants to attempt that? That's a bad sign. Yes?
You mentioned to optimize the portfolio level just by client era purpose. Is there any realistic way or better way to proceed this kind of client era just make a scenario?
Yes, if we can create scenarios to try to solve your problems. Yes, that's your question. For benefits, yeah? Yeah, I would say that this is what we're doing all the time, right? The system will give me automatic answers to a couple of parameters and restrictions I give, and then I have to be worried about changing and tweaking until I get a result that I can be comfortable with, okay? So for this takeaway, we should remember this. We do not manage projects to deliver a rocket or a laser weapon. We manage them to save Earth. You do not deliver your project at your work to put the software running at your customer's screen. You deliver the project so the business will run better. We do not deliver several projects for their return of investments and net present values, which is the core business of most portfolio managers. How's my ROA, how do you say that? ROI for this project? How is this NPV for this project? It doesn't really matter. It matters how the entire conjunction of forces are driving my business. So I need to be able to evaluate that at portfolio level, or program level. So we should generate value to the portfolio. I was with the guy that introduced me to restrictions in a presentation for complex projects in São Paulo like 10 years ago. And he demonstrated to the group a portfolio of 5 projects. Each individual project would give a return of investment of $1 million. And then he put all the 5 projects together, and he did the resource leveling for that particular project. And all returned the 1 million each, so he had 5 million. But because of little delays in each project, if you would bring the net present value, you had an average of $900,000 for each project. But it was still good, right? Not 1 million, it was 900,000. And then he asked, can I just take one of these projects out? I said, why? It's giving you a $900,000 profit. And then he did the exercise. He just removed a very well classified project with a wonderful return of investment, and the entire portfolio was concluded worth 980 each project. So you still don't get the entire million. But the company was ready to get another project that would be worthwhile in a little bit before. So you have the cost of timing too, right? Sometimes it's good not to get everything, like the other company got from 5 to 50, right? And then you just keep doing things that you can actually do and deliver value. Second point here for us, describe the application of scheduling simulation to verify when and where portfolio benefits realization is affected by poor or optimum use of shared resources across multiple projects. So what is our poor example here? In our exercise, right? What was our poor result here? The ones that included waste. The one that did not calculate. The one that calculated 35 days because they put everything all together in just one big line. So 7 in 10 results were the poor use of resources across multiple projects. And please don't take this personally. You don't feel bad because you didn't get this calculation right. We were not taught in the past that this can actually be so important. And now that we understand this is very important, we still cannot calculate it most of the times. We need machines for that. So whatever we are doing to solve Earth now, we couldn't do 30 years ago. So true critical path is necessary for portfolio simulation. Thus, project must be resource loaded. What? Yeah, but prioritization is part of the calculation. I mean, when you have the artificial intelligence playing the game for you, you give some priorities, and the system can actually say, I'm not taking this priority. I'm giving you this other result based on another assumption you have, like a cost reduction or duration reduction, right? So a true artificial intelligence system will get some of your input and will bring others to the table.
But you have to have resource loaded and a good dependency network.
Sure.
And you have to have good priorities.
Right.
So there's going to be some work to get this to work.
Yeah, this is hard work. Who said it's not? Right? Okay, but one good thing is, remember that we can automatize everything that we get to know. If we really think, even if our projects are all different from each other in a company, there are many little parts that are very, very common between. And so if you learn the concept of, what was the name in English? The fragment. Fragment is a fragment of your network. If you learn the idea that some parts of any project can be a little project already saved on your database, and then you get that particular fragment and you bring to other projects. So at the moment, you put a new project together, 80% of that is already articulated. And then the artificial intelligence will help you doing the rest of it. And one concept I'm selling with the startup is the dynamic resource scheduling. This means that you give me the best result you can at first. On the second day, your team will go there and give me input. And then on the third day, I will know what's happening. And then the fourth day, I recalculate everything again and again and again and again. So the continuous calculation will give me a learning experience that I didn't have before. So optimized schedules are not a set of complicated networks managed by people. It's not something that's so complicated that there is no way around of it. Yes, it is complex. It's long. There are many tasks on that. But I can automatize the intelligence behind that. Okay? To make the difference between complicated and complex. Complex means a mathematician will solve me. A computer will solve me. Complicated means just I lost my track. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay? So we do have a couple minutes for question. Let me see my time again. 11:33. No, I missed. But
just a very quick question. And thank you for taking questions. So you mentioned earlier your experience with Petrogras, where you came in, showed a deficiency, and they were unable to correct it. Assuming that you come in a similar scenario, you see a complex schedule that has not been resource loaded. You resource level it. You resource load it. You level it. You optimize it. You find a deficiency. Have you ever had success, or how have you experienced your most success being able to accurately convey that message to executive leadership rather than them looking at the numbers and saying we don't trust this?
Okay. After I got out from this company that I said they are going to be doomed, and they were, the next company they hired me, they were a little bit more willing to listen to me. So it takes a little time, right? And the first predictions I gave to the other company, it took some time for people to actually follow it, but slowly I got into it, right? I was 35 years old by the time, and I was responding to a project director that had 35 years of engineering in that company. And he looked at me and said, what the hell are you doing here, right? Because all the engineers are conducted by engineers. You have no space here. And then a couple of months later, he halted a meeting, stopped the meeting. And they called me on the speakerphones on the manufacturer I was. And then when I got to the room, I said, what is wrong? I said, we cannot start, you're not here, right? So it takes time, but you can build confidence. And every time you have progressive way of learning and showing results, everybody else starts to play along. Okay.
You've shown this at the portfolio level. You talked about the Microsoft has this at the project level.
Mm-hmm.
Does Microsoft have this at the portfolio level?
No.
Or the tool you've developed is the only thing available at this point?
No, the tool I develop is not the only tool. I'm not here to actually sell it. I'm startup and I'm doing some research still and working with cloud solutions. But all my work is based in another tool, and that particular tool can solve most of the things on their particular way of doing. So what I did is I got a partner that had a solution that solves certain types of work. And I got their core mathematical part, and I'm developing other ways around to improve general scheduling to other tools, right? So it's an ongoing process for me as a result, but as an overall possibility of calculation, yes, we can conduct the results at portfolio level. We have managed to put 220,000 tasks into one single schedule, and we got resource leveling about 15 minutes against 4 hours and something that Primavera took to get the same tasks leveled with a different result in ours still, right? And then in project, we put the master and the other projects together. After 15,000 tasks, it doesn't really respond. But if you go to that limit and you resource level, the difference of time is 10 to 20 minutes against 1 day to 2 days to process the same kind of schedule. Okay. And you guys should not forget that.
Yeah. And I thank you all for attending, and thank you, Peter.